The story opens on Nexus Station, the galaxy's largest interstellar hub, a massive structure where hundreds of species converge for trade, diplomacy, and transit. It's a place of controlled chaos, where the air hums with translation devices and the corridors pulse with beings from every corner of known space. Captain Jake Sullivan, a 32-year-old human freighter pilot, has just finished delivering a cargo of medical supplies to the station's central depot. He's got 3 days before his next job, a decent amount of credits in his account, and absolutely no plans beyond enjoying his downtime. Jake's known throughout human shipping circles as a competent pilot with a tendency toward recklessness in his personal life, particularly when beautiful women are involved. He's charming, confident to the point of arrogance, and has never quite learned the value of thinking before speaking. He's sitting at an outdoor cafe in the station's main promenade, outdoor being relative since they're in space, nursing something that claims to be coffee but tastes like a blend of motor oil and regret. He's people-watching, his favorite pastime when stuck on stations, observing the incredible diversity of galactic civilization flowing past. That's when he sees her. Even in a crowd of hundreds, she stands out like a supernova in the void. She's tall, easily 6 feet, with an elegant bearing that speaks of either aristocracy or military discipline. Her skin is iridescent, shifting between pale blue and soft lavender depending on the angle of the station's artificial lighting. It's a trait he vaguely recognizes as Lithurian, one of the older spacefaring species, though he's never encountered one in person before. Her features are refined in a way that seems almost too perfect. High, sharp cheekbones, a graceful neck, and eyes that glow with a soft violet luminescence. Her hair is long, flowing, and appears to be made of fine silver threads that catch the light with every movement. She wears civilian clothing, expensive-looking but not ostentatious, a flowing garment in deep purple that manages to be both modest and incredibly elegant. 2 companions flank her at a respectful distance. He assumes they're friends or colleagues. They're also Lithurian, but their posture is different, alert and watchful in a way that suggests professional training. One is male, one female, both wearing more formal attire with subtle decorative elements that Jake doesn't recognize as symbols of rank. The woman is examining a vendor's display with intense focus, completely absorbed in studying an oil painting of Earth's Pacific Ocean at sunset. Her expression holds such genuine wonder and curiosity that Jake finds himself smiling. There's something refreshing about seeing someone so focused on beauty rather than rushing through the chaos of the station. Jake's never been accused of excessive caution, especially where attractive women are concerned. His last relationship ended 6 months ago when his then-girlfriend gave him an ultimatum, her or the ship. He chose the ship. Since then, he's been careful to keep things casual, but he's never been shy about approaching women who catch his eye. He sets down his terrible coffee, stands, runs a hand through his dark hair to make sure it's presentable. It isn't, but he doesn't know that, and approaches her with his most charming smile firmly in place. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he says, gesturing to the painting. "The ocean, I mean, though I have to say it's got nothing on you." She turns, and up close, she's even more stunning. Those violet eyes fix on him with an expression he can't quite read. Surprise, certainly, but something else beneath it. Her luminescent eyes narrow slightly, studying him with an intensity that makes him feel like a specimen under a microscope. "Excuse me." Her voice is melodic, carrying an accent he doesn't recognize, vowels slightly elongated, consonants crisp and precise. "The painting, Earth's Pacific Ocean. I've actually seen it in person. The real thing's even more incredible. The way the sunset turns the water gold and pink, the sound of the waves." He realizes he's rambling and refocuses. "Almost as beautiful as you. Almost." Her iridescent skin flushes a deeper shade of purple. Embarrassment, he assumes, though he'll later learn it's a complex mix of emotions that Lithurians display through their chromatic shifts. Her companions immediately take notice, their casual alertness transforming into active concern. They move closer, hands drifting toward. Are those weapons? But the woman holds up a hand, A simple gesture, but one that carries unmistakable authority. Her companions stop immediately, though their expressions remain deeply troubled. "You are remarkably forward," she says, and there's a hint of something in her tone that might be amusement. Do humans always approach strangers with such boldness? "Only the extraordinarily beautiful ones," Jake replies with a grin. "Life's too short for missed opportunities. And you, miss, are absolutely the most stunning woman I've seen in this entire station." He pauses, possibly the entire galaxy. She studies him with those luminous eyes, and he feels like she's seeing straight through his casual charm to something deeper. It's unsettling and thrilling in equal measure. "Do you always speak so boldly to strangers?" she asks. "Only the ones worth talking to, and you definitely qualify." He extends his hand in the Earth custom of greeting. "I'm Jake, by the way. Jake Sullivan, human freighter captain, professional cargo hauler, occasional troublemaker." She looks at his extended hand with an expression that suggests she's analyzing it, then reaches out and takes it. Her skin is cool to the touch, smooth, and the contact sends an unexpected jolt through him. Her handshake is firm, confident. "Indeed you are," she says, not offering her own name in return. "And you have no idea who I am, do you?" "Someone way out of my league, clearly," he admits. "But that's never stopped me before. Usually ends badly, but I'm an optimist." She laughs, actually laughs, and the sound is like crystal bells ringing in perfect harmony. It's the most beautiful laugh he's ever heard, and he finds himself wanting to hear it again. Her companions exchange shocked glances, their expressions morphing from concern to something like panic. "Your boldness is refreshing," she admits, her lips curving into what might be a genuine smile. "Do you know what species I am?" "Lithurian, I'd guess. The iridescent skin is pretty distinctive, and absolutely gorgeous if you don't mind me saying. I've never met a Lithurian in person before. You're the first." "I do not mind, you guess correctly." She tilts her head, studying him with an expression of genuine curiosity. "Tell me, Jake Sullivan, what do you know of Lithurians?" Jake shrugs, trying to remember what little he learned in his basic xenology courses years ago. "Honestly, not as much as I probably should. Ancient species, been spacefaring for thousands of years. Your culture's supposed to be very refined, lots of protocol and formality. Your empire's one of the major powers. You control several star systems in the outer rim. You've got trade agreements with Earth, though I've never dealt with them personally." He grins. "Oh, and apparently your women are absolutely stunning. Learning that firsthand now." "Your knowledge is adequate," she says, and he can't tell if she's amused or disappointed. "But basic. Tell me, do you know anything of our governmental structure?" "Not really. Some kind of monarchy, I think. Or maybe an elected council. Look, I'm just a cargo hauler. I know shipping lanes, fuel costs, and how to sweet-talk station masters into better docking fees. Galactic politics aren't really my thing." "I see." Something flickers in her eyes, relief perhaps. "And that is why you approach me so boldly. You truly have no context for who I am." "Should I? Are you famous or something?" He looks at her more carefully. "Wait, are you like a celebrity? Because if you are, I apologize for not recognizing you. I don't really follow entertainment news." "Not exactly a celebrity," she says, and now she's definitely amused. "Tell me, Jake Sullivan, would you like to share a beverage with me? I find your ignorance endearing." That's not usually what women say, but I'll take it. "And yes, I'd love to buy you a drink. Best decision I'll make all week." "You presume I have no other commitments, do you?" She considers this for a moment. Not for the next hour. She turns to her companions, who look like they're about to have simultaneous heart attacks. "Counselor Verax, Lady Shara, you may wait at distance. I'm having a drink with this boldly ignorant human." "My lady, we cannot possibly." The male companion begins, his voice tight with alarm. "I have not been my ladied in quite some time, counselor," she says, her tone shifting to something more authoritative. "And I will remind you that I do not require permission for my actions. Wait, at distance." The two companions bow, an elaborate, formal gesture that seems excessive to Jake, and retreat about 20 feet away, where they take up positions that allow them to observe while maintaining the illusion of privacy. They both look like they're silently composing resignation letters. Your friends seem worried, Jake observes as they walk toward the cafe. They are not friends, they are advisors, and yes, they are perpetually worried. It is their nature. Advisors, what do you do that requires advisors? Many things, she says vaguely. But tonight, I am simply a woman having a drink with an intriguing stranger. Let us leave it at that. They settle into a corner booth at the cafe, and Jake orders another attempt at coffee while she requests something called Starbloom tea. When it arrives, it glows faintly, pulsing with soft bioluminescence. That's beautiful, he says, watching the light patterns. It is from my homeworld. I am pleased this establishment carries it. She takes a sip, and her whole demeanor seems to relax slightly. Now tell me about yourself, Jake Sullivan. What brings a human cargo hauler to Nexus Station? Same thing that brings everyone, work and wanderlust. I delivered medical supplies to the central depot, got paid, and now I'm killing time before my next job, which doesn't start for 3 days, so I've got nothing but free time and questionable judgment. Questionable judgment. Case in point. I'm currently hitting on a woman who's so far out of my league that she might as well be from another dimension. But here I am anyway, because apparently I never learn. She laughs again, and he decides that sound might be his new favorite thing in the galaxy. You are refreshingly honest about your intentions. Most males who approach me are far more circumspect. Life's too short to play games. I saw someone beautiful and interesting and I wanted to talk to her. Simple as that. Simple, she repeats thoughtfully. Yes, I suppose it is simple from a certain perspective. She studies him over her glowing tea. Tell me, what is it like, being a cargo hauler? And so Jake tells her. He talks about the freedom of space, the loneliness of long hauls, the satisfaction of successfully navigating a difficult route. He tells her about his ship, the Wandering Star, a beat-up freighter that he loves despite its many flaws. He talks about his crew, 3 other humans who are more like family than employees. In return, she asks endless questions. She wants to know about Earth, about human culture, about the little details of his life that seem insignificant to him but fascinating to her. What does he eat on long voyages? What music does he listen to? What does he dream about when he sleeps? You ask a lot of questions, he observes after half an hour of conversation. I am curious by nature, she explains. And you are the first human I have spoken to in quite some time. I find your perspective refreshing. When was the last time you talked to a human? She pauses, calculating. 3 years at a formal diplomatic function. The conversation was entirely about trade agreements and lasted approximately 12 minutes. Sounds thrilling. It was not. She takes another sip of her tea and her expression grows more thoughtful. Most of my interactions are formal, scripted, designed to achieve specific outcomes. This, she gestures between them, this is quite different. Different good or different bad? Different liberating. She meets his eyes. Do you know what it is like, Jake Sullivan, to have every word you speak analyzed for political implications? To have every gesture scrutinized for diplomatic meaning? To be unable to simply have a conversation without considering consequences? The question carries weight, and he realizes there's real pain beneath it. Sounds exhausting. It is, more than you can imagine. She looks down at her tea. Sometimes I forget what it is like to simply be. Lysandra. Lysandra, he repeats, savoring the name. That's beautiful, suits you. Her skin flushes that deep purple again. Thank you, and what suits you, Jake Sullivan? What brings you joy? Honestly, moments like this. New places, interesting people, conversations that go somewhere unexpected. I haul cargo because it pays for the lifestyle, but the lifestyle is what matters. Freedom, basically. The ability to go where I want when I want, with no one telling me how to live. Freedom, she echoes wistfully. What a luxury. They talk for 2 hours. The conversation flows easily, moving from topic to topic without effort. She's intelligent, witty, surprisingly funny when she lets her guard down. He makes her laugh repeatedly, and each time her advisors look more distressed. At one point, Counselor Verax approaches. My lady, we really should. Leave us, Lysandra says without looking at him. Now. He retreats and Jake raises an eyebrow. You're pretty good at the commanding thing. I have had practice, she says dryly. Eventually, the cafe begins to close for the night cycle. They've been talking so long that Jake's lost track of time entirely. I should go, Lysandra says reluctantly. I have obligations tomorrow. Will I see you again? The words are out before he can stop them. She's quiet for a moment, her skin cycling through several color shifts, indecision. He's learning to read. Finally, I am on the station for 3 more days. Tomorrow evening I will have free time. If you happen to be at the observation deck at sunset, station time, I might also happen to be there. Coincidentally. Coincidentally, he repeats, grinning. Purely coincidental, nothing planned. Nothing that my advisors could report as a deliberate meeting with a stranger. I love coincidences. They're my favorite. She stands and he does as well. For a moment, they simply look at each other and something passes between them. Recognition, maybe, or possibility. Until our coincidental meeting, Jake Sullivan, she says. Can't wait for the coincidence, Lysandra. She sweeps away, her advisors immediately flanking her like worried parents. As she walks, several people in the promenade stop and stare, a few even bowing. Jake notices this but doesn't process the significance. He sits back down, replaying the conversation in his mind, and realizes with startling clarity that he just had the best evening he's had in years. Maybe ever. He has no idea that the woman he just charmed is Queen Lysandra IV of the Lithurian Empire, ruler of 7-star systems, sovereign over 17 billion beings, and one of the most powerful individuals in the known galaxy. He has no idea that tomorrow's coincidental meeting will change the course of both their lives, and he has no idea that his simple compliment, "You're the sexiest woman in the galaxy," has just started something that will shake the foundations of interstellar politics. All he knows is that he met someone incredible, and he can't wait to see her again. Sometimes ignorance truly is bliss. The next evening, Jake arrives at the observation deck 30 minutes early. He's changed his shirt 3 times, attempted to tame his perpetually messy hair, failed, and nearly backed out twice before forcing himself to go through with it. The observation deck is one of Nexus Station's main attractions, a massive curved gallery with floor-to-ceiling transparent aluminum panels that offer an unobstructed view of space. Ships of all sizes and configurations drift past, stars glitter in the eternal night, and the nearby nebula casts everything in shades of purple and gold. Jake positions himself near one of the viewing panels, trying to look casual while his heart hammers in his chest. He tells himself this is just another casual meeting, nothing significant, just 2 people who enjoyed a conversation deciding to have another one. He's a terrible liar, even to himself. At exactly sunset, marked by the station's artificial day-night cycle, Lysandra appears. She's dressed more casually tonight, in simpler clothing that's still undeniably elegant. Her silver hair is pulled back in an intricate style that reveals the graceful line of her neck. She's alone this time, though Jake suspects her advisors are lurking somewhere nearby. When she sees him, her face lights up in a genuine smile that makes his breath catch. "You came," she says, sounding pleased and slightly surprised. "Of course I came. Wouldn't miss this coincidence for anything." They fall into step together, walking along the observation deck while space unfolds before them in all its glory. For a while, they don't speak, just enjoy the view and each other's presence. "Thank you for meeting me," Lysandra finally says. I have not enjoyed conversation so much in a very long time." "Same here, you're easy to talk to. Well, once you get past the mysterious thing you've got going on." "Mysterious? You never did tell me what you do that requires advisors, or why those advisors looked like they were having heart attacks when you agreed to have a drink with me." She's quiet for a moment, and when she speaks, her voice is careful. "What I do is complicated. It involves considerable responsibility and very little privacy. Government work. Something like that. High level. Extremely high level." Like what? Secretary to some important official. She makes a sound that might be a laugh. Not exactly. Jake, what would you say if I told you that my position is somewhat more significant than secretary? How much more significant? Substantially more. He stops walking and turns to face her. Okay, you're being mysterious again. Come on, just tell me. Are you like a diplomat, trade minister, cultural ambassador? No. Then what? She looks at him and her expression is complex. Amusement, anxiety, resignation. Jake Sullivan, do you remember yesterday when you asked if I was famous? Yeah, you said not exactly. That was imprecise. The truth is more complicated. She takes a breath. I am not famous in the way entertainers are famous, but I am recognized, widely recognized. By who? By anyone familiar with Lithurian politics. By anyone who follows galactic news. By essentially everyone except, apparently, you. He's starting to get a bad feeling about this. Lysandra, what exactly is your job? She meets his eyes directly. I do not have a job, Jake. I have a throne. The words don't compute at first. A throne. Yes, like an actual throne, the sitting on it kind of throne. The sitting on it ruling an empire kind of throne, yes. Jake's brain short-circuits. Your royalty. I am. Like a princess or something. Not exactly. Then what exactly? She draws herself up. That's not reassuring. Jake. She places her cool hand on his and the contact grounds him. Breathe. You are not going to be executed. If I were going to have you arrested, it would have happened yesterday. Then why didn't it? Why did you agree to have a drink with me? She's quiet for a long moment, staring out at the stars. Do you know how long it has been since someone spoke to me without knowing who I am? Without considering politics or alliances or what they might gain from my favor? A while. Decades, Jake. Literal decades. I became queen at 22 years old, young by Lithurian standards. My parents died in a transport accident, and I inherited the throne before I was truly ready for it. For 43 years, I have been queen first and Lysandra second. Every interaction is calculated, every relationship is strategic, every conversation is filtered through the lens of politics. She turns to look at him. And then yesterday, a human cargo hauler approached me in a marketplace and called me beautiful. Not your majesty, not most sovereign, just beautiful. You saw a woman, not a crown, and you had no idea what a gift that was. Jake processes this. So you went along with it because I didn't know. I went along with it because it was the first genuine interaction I have had in years. You wanted nothing from me except conversation. You did not calculate your words for political advantage. You simply talked to me as an equal, as a person. But I'm not your equal. You rule billions, I haul cargo, and yet you treated me as though we were equals. That is what made it remarkable. She squeezes his hand. That is why I am here now, Jake, despite knowing this is wildly inappropriate and will cause enormous problems if discovered. Your advisors know you're here. They know. They are currently having collective nervous breakdowns about 30 meters away, hidden but watching. She smiles faintly. Counselor Verax has probably drafted his resignation letter twice already. So what now? Jake asks. I know who you are. Does that change everything? Does it? I don't know. You're still the woman I met yesterday. The one who laughed at my terrible jokes and talked about feeling trapped by expectations. But you're also a queen who controls star systems. Those seem like they should be two different people, but they're both you. They are both me, she confirms. The question is, which one do you see when you look at me now? Jake looks at her, really looks at her. The iridescent skin, the luminous eyes, the elegant features, but also the loneliness he sees beneath the regal bearing, the hope in her eyes that he won't retreat, the vulnerability of someone who has just revealed something enormous. I see Lysandra, he says finally, the woman who loves Starbloom tea and asks a million questions about Earth, the one who's curious about everything and feels trapped by duty. You just happen to also be a queen, but that's your job, not who you are. Her skin flushes that deep purple he's learning means strong emotion. You continue to surprise me, Jake Sullivan. Is that good or bad? It is refreshing and rare and She hesitates and dangerous. Dangerous how? Because I find myself not wanting this to end, and it must end. Her expression grows pained. Jake, I am queen. My every action is scrutinized. My relationships are political. I cannot simply have romantic involvements with whoever I wish. Romantic involvement, is that what this is? What would you call it? He considers. Two people who enjoy each other's company and want to spend more time together. That is the beginning of romantic involvement, Jake, and it cannot happen, not with me. Not with a human cargo hauler, no matter how charming he may be. Why not? Because I am expected to form alliances through marriage, strategic partnerships with other royal houses or powerful political figures. Because Lithurian human romantic relationships are virtually unknown among royalty. Because my council would never approve. Because any relationship I have becomes a matter of state policy. Because duty, he interrupts. Always duty. Yes, always duty. They sit in silence for a while, watching ships drift past the observation windows. Finally, Jake speaks. What if I don't care about duty? That is easy to say now. No, I mean it. What if I'm willing to deal with the complications? What if I want to see where this goes? Politics and councils and complications be damned. She looks at him with an expression of mingled hope and pain. Why would you do that? You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're brilliant and kind and funny. I know you've spent decades feeling alone despite being surrounded by people. I know that when you laugh, it's the best sound I've ever heard. And I know that I haven't stopped thinking about you since the moment we met. Jake, I'm serious, Lysandra. Yes, finding out you're a queen is terrifying, but it doesn't change what I feel, which is that I want to know you better. The real you underneath the crown. What you feel after 2 conversations. That is infatuation, not. Maybe it's infatuation, but how will we know if we don't explore it? How will we know what this could be if we quit before we start? She stands abruptly, pacing away from him. You do not understand what you are suggesting. If we were to pursue anything, it would become political scandal. My advisors would revolt. Other royal houses would see it as weakness. Earth-Lithurian relations could be damaged if it ends poorly. Your life would be invaded, scrutinized, judged by standards you cannot imagine. Sounds like a lot of people worrying about things that might not happen. They are legitimate concerns, or their excuses. He stands and walks to her. Lysandra, I get it. This is complicated and messy and probably a terrible idea by every logical measure. But when was the last time you did something just because you wanted to? Not because it was politically advantageous or strategically sound, but because it made you happy. She's quiet for so long that he thinks she won't answer. Finally, I cannot remember. Then maybe it's time. And if I choose to pursue this terrible idea with you, what then? You return to your ship, I return to my palace, and we, what? Send messages across the galaxy. Schedule coincidental meetings every few months. We figure it out as we go. That is not how royal courtships work. Then maybe we don't do a royal courtship. Maybe we just see each other, spend time together when we can, get to know each other without all the protocol and politics. That is not possible for me. Why not? Because I am queen. Her voice rises with frustration. I cannot simply date someone, Jake. Any relationship I enter becomes state business. There are protocols, negotiations, formal announcements. My council must approve. The people must accept. It is not simple. So make it simple. How? By not telling anyone, by keeping this between us at least for now. Your advisors already know we've met. Let them think it's ending. And then we find ways to see each other, quietly, privately. No politics, no protocol, just us. She stares at him. You suggest I conduct a secret relationship, deceive my advisors, potentially compromise my position. I suggest you take something for yourself, for once. It is not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You want to see me again. I want to see you. Everything else is just obstacles that people are putting in our way. We can choose to let those obstacles stop us, or we can choose to navigate them. She turns away, her skin cycling through complex color patterns. He can see her wrestling with the decision, duty versus desire, responsibility versus happiness, the weight of a crown versus the pull of connection. Finally, she speaks without turning. I am on the station for 2 more days. I have a diplomatic reception tomorrow evening that I cannot miss, but the following night, I have private time scheduled. If someone were to access my quarters during that time, no one would question it. My advisors remain outside during private hours. Jake's heart rate increases. Are you saying? I am saying that if you were somehow able to access my quarters, Deck 7, Section Theta, Suite 18, tomorrow night at 2100 hours, we would have privacy to continue this conversation. Without observers. Without politics. Just 2 people talking. How would I access royal quarters? She finally turns, and there's something almost mischievous in her expression. I imagine a resourceful cargo hauler might have contacts who can provide temporary access codes. For a price. The right price might purchase 3 hours of uninterrupted privacy. That sounds like you're propositioning me, Your Majesty. I am inviting you to continue our conversation in more comfortable surroundings. What you choose to hear in that invitation is your own interpretation. And if I show up, then we see where this leads, one conversation at a time, one choice at a time, with no promises beyond the moment. That sounds perfect. She walks to him, and for the first time, she's close enough that he can feel the coolness radiating from her skin. Jake Sullivan, you are either the best thing that has happened to me in decades or the most catastrophic mistake I will ever make. I have not yet determined which. Can I be both? She laughs that crystal bell sound. Perhaps we shall see. She reaches up and with one cool finger traces the line of his jaw. The touch is electric, intimate in a way that goes beyond the physical. Tomorrow night, she says, 2100 hours. If you come, you must come alone. Tell no one. This must be our secret, at least for now. I understand. Do you understand what we are beginning, the risk we are taking? I understand that I've never felt this way about anyone before, and that I'm willing to risk everything to see where it goes. Her eyes glow brighter, and she leans in, pressing her cool lips to his cheek in a gesture that's somehow more intimate than a kiss on the mouth would be. Until tomorrow, she whispers. Then she's gone, sweeping away with her usual regal grace. He doesn't see her advisors, but he knows they're there, watching, worrying. Jake stands at the observation window, touching his cheek where her lips were, and realizes with perfect clarity that his life has just become infinitely more complicated. He's pursuing a secret relationship with an alien queen. It's dangerous, probably doomed, and will almost certainly end in disaster. And he can't wait. Getting the access code costs Jake most of his remaining credits and requires calling in a favor from a station technician he once helped out of a smuggling charge. He didn't ask what was being smuggled, which the technician appreciated. The technician whistles when he sees the location Jake needs to access. Royal quarters. Man, you don't do anything halfway, do you? It's complicated. It always is with you. All right, I can get you in, but this code's only good for 3 hours, and if you're caught, you never heard my name. Deal. The next evening, Jake showers twice, changes clothes 4 times, and nearly backs out 7 times before forcing himself to go through with it. He arrives at Deck 7 at 20:55 hours, heart hammering so hard he's sure everyone on the entire deck can hear it. The Royal Quarters section is noticeably different from the rest of the station, quieter, more elegant, with better lighting and actual art on the walls. Security presence is heavy but discreet. He sees at least 3 guards who nod politely at him but don't challenge his presence. Suite 18 is at the end of a long corridor. He reaches it at exactly 2100 hours and stands there like an idiot for 30 seconds before working up the courage to use the access code. The door slides open silently. The interior is breathtaking, not ostentatious but elegantly appointed, with furniture that looks like it was grown rather than built and lighting that seems to come from the walls themselves. Soft music plays from hidden speakers, something with wind instruments that sounds like Earth's classical music but not quite. And there, by the window overlooking space, stands Lysandra. She's changed into something flowing and comfortable, her silver hair loose around her shoulders. She turns when she hears him enter, and her expression is nervous and hopeful in equal measure. "You came," she says. "Did you think I wouldn't?" "I was not certain. This is highly irregular. That's becoming a theme with us." She laughs and some of her nervous tension eases. "Please come in, sit. Would you like something to drink? Whatever you're having is fine." She pours 2 glasses of Starbloom tea, and they settle onto a couch that's surprisingly comfortable despite looking like crystallized light. For a moment, neither speaks, both suddenly aware of the intimacy of the situation. "This is strange," Lysandra finally says. "I have entertained thousands of dignitaries in official capacity, but having someone here privately by choice rather than protocol, it has been a very long time." "How long?" 20 years, perhaps, since before I became queen, certainly. That's a long time to be lonely. It is a long time for many things. She sips her tea. "Jake, before we proceed with whatever this is, I need to explain some things about Lithurian culture, about what relationships mean for my people." "Okay." She sets down her tea and turns to face him fully. "Lithurians are long-lived. I am 65 years old by Earth reckoning, which is young adult by our standards. We can live for 300 years, sometimes more. This longevity affects how we approach relationships. Because you've got more time. Because our commitments echo through centuries. When Lithurians form romantic bonds, they are intended to be lifelong, multiple lifetimes by human standards. We do not engage in casual relationships. There is no concept of dating as you understand it. There is friendship and there is bonding with very little in between. Jake processes this. "So when you invited me here, I am not proposing bonding," she says quickly. "That requires elaborate rituals and formal negotiations. But I am acknowledging that what I feel for you is beyond simple friendship. And that is significant. For my people, that acknowledgement is the first step toward something deeper. And you're taking that step with me, a human you've known for 3 days. Which is why my advisors would be horrified if they knew." She reaches out and takes his hand. "But Jake, I must also be honest about complications. I am queen. Any relationship I form has political implications. If we pursue this, truly pursue it, it will eventually become public. And when it does, we will face opposition. From my council, from traditionalists among my people, possibly from your people as well. Because I'm human. Because you are non-royal, human, and significantly shorter-lived than me. By Lithurian standards, our union would be unconventional, to put it mildly." "How much shorter-lived?" She squeezes his hand. "You might live 80 years if you are fortunate. I could live 250 more. That discrepancy will be used against us." The weight of that reality settles over Jake. "So you'd outlive me by a lot. By centuries, potentially. And that is part of why my council would oppose this. They would see it as temporary, unsuitable for someone in my position." "Is it temporary?" She's quiet for a long moment. "I do not know, we have only just begun to know each other, but I am willing to explore the possibility despite the complications. The question is, are you?" Jake looks at their joined hands, his warm and tan, hers cool and iridescent. The physical differences are obvious, but beneath that, he feels something that transcends species and status. "Lysandra, I'm not going to pretend I understand everything about your culture or your position. I don't. I'm just a cargo hauler who happened to meet someone incredible, but here's what I do know. I've never felt this way about anyone before, not this fast, not this strong, and I think if we don't at least try to see where this goes, I'll regret it for the rest of my life." Her eyes glow brighter. "Even knowing the complications, the obstacles, the likelihood that this will cause both of us significant problems, especially knowing that. Because if we're willing to face all of that just for a chance to be together, then what we have must be worth it." She makes a sound that's half laugh, half sob. "You are either remarkably brave or remarkably foolish. Probably both, but I'm here and you're here, and we've got 3 hours of privacy. So maybe we stop worrying about everything that could go wrong and just be here, together, and see what happens." She studies him for a long moment, then nods decisively. "You are right. We are here. Let us be here." She shifts closer, and he puts his arm around her. It feels natural despite the coolness of her skin. She relaxes against him, and they sit like that for a while, just existing in each other's presence. "Tell me about your ship," she says eventually, and so he does. He tells her about the Wandering Star, his beat-up freighter that's been his home for 8 years. He tells her about his crew. Marcus, his co-pilot who never stops talking. Sarah, his engineer who can fix anything. And Devon, his navigator who can plot routes through the most difficult space. He talks about the planets he's visited, the cargo he's hauled, the adventures and misadventures that come with the job. In return, she tells him about her life, the weight of ruling 17 billion beings, the endless diplomatic negotiations, the economic policies she's shaped, the military strategies she's approved, but also the small things, her love of Lithurian literature, her secret hobby of sketching, she's apparently quite good, her longing to travel freely as he does. "I envy you," she admits. "Your freedom to go where you wish, see what you want, live as you choose. And I envy you, your purpose, knowing that what you do matters on such a massive scale. Purpose and freedom," she muses. "Perhaps we each want what the other has, or perhaps we can give each other what we lack." She looks up at him, and her face is closer than he realized. "Jake Sullivan, I am going to do something that is either brilliant or catastrophic." "What's that?" "This." She kisses him. It's tentative at first, testing, but when he responds, it deepens. Her lips are cool, soft, and the sensation is electric. His hand comes up to cup her face, and her skin is smooth as silk beneath his fingers. She makes a small sound, pleasure or surprise, and presses closer. When they part, both are breathing harder. "That was," he starts. "Inadvisable," she finishes, "but wonderful. Very inadvisable, extremely wonderful." She laughs and kisses him again, less tentative this time. They lose themselves in each other, and time becomes irrelevant. The 3 hours pass in what feels like minutes, talking, laughing, kissing, exploring this connection that's formed between them. Eventually, the access code expires and an alert chimes softly. "Time's up," Jake says reluctantly. "Already?" She looks genuinely disappointed. "It felt like we just began." "I know." He stands, helping her up. "When will I see you again?" She becomes more serious. "I leave the station tomorrow. My schedule requires me to return to the homeworld." His heart sinks. "Oh, but," she continues, "I will be back at Nexus Station in 3 months. There is a diplomatic conference I will attend. Perhaps we could coincidentally encounter each other again. 3 months is a long time." "It is, but it will give us both time to think about this, to be certain we wish to pursue it, to consider the implications." "I already know I want to pursue it." "You say that now, but think about it, Jake. Truly think about what you would be committing to. A secret relationship with someone who lives in a completely different world than you. Someone whose life is defined by duty and protocol. Someone who will outlive you by centuries." "I'll think about it," he promises, "but I already know my answer won't change." She touches his face tenderly. "We shall see. If in 3 months you still feel this way, we will continue. If you have changed your mind, we part as friends with no hard feelings." "And you? Will you change your mind?" "I do not believe so. But I owe it to both of us to be certain." He kisses her once more, long, deep, full of promise and longing. When they part, her eyes are glowing brightly and her skin is deep purple. "Until 3 months hence," she says. "May your travels be safe, Jake Sullivan. May your reign be wise, Lysandra." He leaves, and as the door closes behind him, he leans against the corridor wall, processing everything that just happened. He's involved with a queen. An alien queen who lives in a different world, has responsibilities he can't imagine, and will outlive him by centuries. It's complicated, messy, probably doomed. And he's never been more certain of anything in his life. 3 months suddenly feels like an eternity. But he'll wait. For her, he'll wait. The 3 months that follow are the longest of Jake's life. He throws himself into work, taking on back-to-back cargo runs that keep him constantly moving. But no matter where he goes, no matter how busy he is, he can't stop thinking about her. He doesn't tell his crew. How would he even explain? "Hey, I'm secretly involved with an alien queen," doesn't exactly come up naturally in conversation. So he keeps it to himself, nursing the memory of those stolen hours like a precious secret. Around week 6, something unexpected happens. He receives a message on a secure, encrypted channel. The encryption is military grade, far beyond anything a cargo hauler should have access to. The message is simple. "I miss our conversations, L." He stares at it for a full minute before responding. "I miss you, J." That opens the floodgates. They begin exchanging messages regularly. Nothing that could compromise her position. Nothing explicitly romantic that could be used against them if discovered. Just conversations. She tells him about a diplomatic negotiation that went poorly. He tells her about a near miss with pirates. She shares a passage from a Lithuanian poem she loves. He sends her a recording of Earth music he thinks she'll enjoy. The messages become the highlight of his days. Sometimes they're long, thoughtful discussions about philosophy or policy. Sometimes they're short and playful. Once she sends him a sketch she drew, a remarkably accurate rendering of his ship from memory. "You're talented," he writes back. "I have a good memory and motivation to remember." Another time, he's having a terrible day. The ship's having mechanical problems. A client refused to pay and he's exhausted. He sends her a message complaining about it, not expecting much. Her response comes quickly. "Tomorrow will be better, and in 2 weeks we see each other again. Hold on to that." It helps more than he can express. As the 3-month mark approaches, Jake's nervous energy becomes unbearable. His crew notices. "You've been weird for months," Marcus, his co-pilot, observes. "What's going on?" "Nothing, just thinking about stuff." "What stuff?" "Personal stuff." "Is it a woman?" "It's a woman, isn't it? You met someone." Jake considers denying it but realizes lying to his crew is pointless. "Maybe." "Maybe? Either you did or you didn't." "I did, but it's complicated." "It's always complicated with you. Who is she?" "Can't say." "Why not?" "Because she's private, and our relationship is private, and I promised I wouldn't talk about it." Marcus raises his eyebrows. Sounds serious. "It might be, I don't know yet. We're still figuring it out." "Well, whoever she is, she's made you happy. Even when you're moping around missing her, you're happier than you've been in years. So I approve, whoever she is." "Thanks, Marcus." Finally, after what feels like an eternity, the day arrives. Jake pilots the wandering star into Nexus Station, his hands slightly shaking with anticipation. The diplomatic conference starts tomorrow. Lysandra should already be here. He docks his ship and makes his way to the diplomatic quarters section, trying to look casual. He's halfway there when his communication device chimes. It's from her. "Observation deck. Now." He practically runs. The observation deck is crowded this time. The diplomatic conference has brought hundreds of beings to the station. He scans the crowd, looking for her, and there, she stands by the viewing window, resplendent in formal robes that mark her status clearly. She's not hiding who she is this time. Around her, people keep a respectful distance and her advisors flank her as always. Their eyes meet across the crowded deck, and something passes between them: recognition, joy, longing, relief. She says something to her advisors, who immediately look alarmed and begins walking toward him. Everyone in the vicinity notices. A queen is walking directly toward a human in cargo hauler clothes. Conversations pause. People stare. Jake meets her halfway. "Your Majesty," he says formally because they have an audience. "Captain Sullivan," she responds, equally formal. "I understand you are familiar with Earth's oceans. I wonder if you might share your expertise on a matter of some importance to me." It's an excuse and everyone knows it, but it's also a royal request that can't be refused without insult. "Of course, Your Majesty. I'm at your service." They walk together to a quieter section of the deck, and her advisors maintain distance but watch like hawks. "You look well," she says quietly. "You look incredible. I mean, you always look incredible, but the formal robes are really something." "Thank you, I have missed your direct honesty." She glances at him sideways. "I have missed many things about you." "I've missed you too, every day." "Jake, we need to talk about what happens next." Okay, I have been thinking for 3 months. About us, about whether this is wise, about all the complications and obstacles. She pauses, and I have reached a conclusion. His heart stops. What conclusion? That I do not care about the complications. That I want to pursue this, truly pursue it. That I am willing to face whatever opposition comes because what we have is worth fighting for. Relief floods through him, thank God, because I reached the same conclusion about 2 minutes after you left 3 months ago. She smiles that genuine, warm smile he loves. Then we are agreed. But Jake, this means we must be strategic. We cannot keep meeting in secret indefinitely. Eventually, our relationship will need to be acknowledged publicly. How do we do that? Carefully, deliberately. We will need to prepare both our peoples for the idea. Build diplomatic justification. Make it clear that our relationship serves greater purposes beyond personal desire. Does it? It could. Enhanced Earth-Lithurian cooperation, cultural exchange at the highest levels, a symbol of interspecies harmony in an increasingly divided galaxy. She looks at him seriously. I am queen. I must frame even my personal choices in terms of benefit to my people. Can you accept that? I can accept anything that lets me be with you, even if it means our relationship becomes political theater, even if every moment together is scrutinized and analyzed. Even then, though I'd prefer if some moments could just be ours. So would I, and we will ensure they are. She glances at her advisors. My schedule here is extensive, but I have negotiated private time. This evening, my quarters. 2,000 hours. We will have 4 hours. I'll be there. And Jake, this time we need to begin planning how to make this work long-term, how to bring our relationship into the light without it destroying us. We'll figure it out. Together, together. She reaches out and in full view of everyone watching takes his hand briefly. It's a simple gesture, but the implications are enormous. A queen does not casually touch a commoner. The whispers begin immediately. Until this evening, she says, releasing his hand. Until this evening. She walks away and Jake stands there, knowing that their secret just became significantly less secret, and knowing that he doesn't care. He's done hiding. It's time to fight for what he wants, for who he wants, and he's ready. That evening in her quarters they make plans, not just for stolen moments but for a future. It's audacious, probably impossible, but they're going to try anyway. Because what started with a simple compliment to a beautiful stranger has become